Well, here we are, Flashback Monday. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Tina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. And please hit the like and subscribe. I'd be most appreciative. And if anybody has any suggestions for future flashbacks, we're getting closer and closer every day to current, which means we're catching up to If Then Friday. So we're going to need something new for Flashback Monday soon. But anyways, we are in September of 2017, and a lot of these books are going to end up in my to be read pile for absolute sure. Quite a few of these I didn't know about, so these are new to me. But they're existing series, and that's my qualification. Mystery and existing series of at least 3 or 4 books. So, let's get started here. Oh, I missed my magazine. Robin Carr, The Summer That Made Us. I should use this as one of my March books. Oh, I already finished March. Oh well. Blue for April, maybe? I'll have to put this aside. The Summer That Made Us. Two Hempsteads for the Hempsteads, 2 sisters who married 2 brothers and 3 daughters each. Summers were idyllic. The moment school was out, the women would gather at the family house, and the lake was a haven where they were happy and carefree. But after an accidental drowning turned the lake house into a site of tragedy and grief, it closed up. None of the Hempstead women would speak of what happened that summer, and the relationships between them became uneasy at best and hurtful at worst. So we need to get over whatever happened. Hey, and I came from the town of Hempstead, by the way. I miss it. I miss it a great deal. Alright, Rayanne Thane, Sugar Pine Trail. Oh, we've got tail. Sorry. Rayanne Thane, Sugar Pine Trail. Librarian Julia Winston is ready to ditch the quiet existence she's been living. She's made a list of new things to experience, but falling for Jamie Kane, her sexy military pilot neighbor, isn't one of them. Julia's looking to conquer life, not become the heartbreak's latest conquest. When 2 young brothers wind up in Julia's care for the holidays, she'll take any help she can get, even Jamie's. Happy to step in, Jamie reveals a side of himself that's much harder to resist. Not only is he fantastic with kids, but he's also good with Julia. Sympathetic. Christina Dodd, the woman who couldn't scream. I have nightmares like this. Miranda Falcone is a world-class beauty, a trophy wife who seems to have it all, except she has no voice. For 9 bitter years, Miranda had to serve her wealthy, elderly husband, never leaving his side, always doing his bidding. Upon his death, Miranda vanishes and reappears in Virtue Falls with a new name, a new look, and a plot to take revenge on the man who loved her, betrayed her, and walked away, leaving her silent, abused, bound to an old man's obsession. Miranda faces challenges. Her school friend Katie Kirot is the newly elected sheriff of Virtue Falls. A chance meeting with her former lover intrigues him and brings him on the hunt for her. A meeting face to face shakes her convictions. Will she have the time to discover the truth about the events that happened years ago? Because someone doesn't want her to reveal what happened. Sharon Solo, Life of Lies. Sahara Travis is used to being worshipped by adoring fans, but now someone is fixated on her in a dangerous way. After multiple attempts on her life, she reluctantly agrees to hire a security specialist for her protection through the last thing she wants is some burly bodyguard invading her personal space. Former Army Ranger Brendan McQueen's job is to keep the starlet safe, and I bet you they fall in love. Still bathing. Michael Jenks, A Murder Too Soon. June 1554, former cut purse and now professional assassin Jack Blacksmith has deep misgivings about his latest assignment. He was dispatched to the Palace of Woodstock, where Queen Mary's half-sister, Princess Elizabeth, is being kept under close guard. Jack's employer has reason to believe that a spy has been installed within the princess's household, and Jack has been ordered to kill him. Jack has no choice but to agree, but when he arrives at Woodstock, he accidentally stumbles over a dead body. The murder has already been committed. Oops. Sophie Kelly, A Tale of Two Kitties. Check out D. Louise book series If Then, Dog Days of Summer, and Cats too. With well-placed paw on keyboard. Somebody's receipt. You know, it's true. As many bookmarks as I have, when I need one, I can't find one. And you always, what do you use for a bookmark? Postcard, receipt, letter, piece of paper, pen, pencil. But don't ever let me hear you saying you fold the corners of the page. No damage to the book. Do you hear me? With a well-placed paw on a keyboard or pointed star, Kathleen's two cats, Hercules and Owen, have helped her solve cases in the past, so she's learned to trust their instincts. But she will need to rely on more than ever when a 20-year-old scandal leads to murder. The arrival of the James brothers has little town of Mayville Heights buzzing. Everyone of a certain age remembers when Victor had an affair with Leo's wife, who then died in a car accident. Now it seems like the brothers are trying to reconcile until Kathleen finds Leo dead. The police set their sights on Leo's son and Catherine's good friend Simon, who doesn't have much of an alibi. To prove her friend's innocence, Catherine will have to dig into the town's history and into her sardine cracker supply. Jan Karen, to be where you are. After 12 years of wrestling with the conflicts of retirement, Father Tim Cavanaugh realizes he doesn't need a steady job to prove himself. Then he's given one. As for what proves, heaven only knows. Millions of Jan Karen fans will be thrilled that it's life as usual in the wildly popular Mitford series. A beloved town character lands a front-page obituary, but who has it? Who exactly died? And what about the former mayor, born the year Lindbergh landed in Paris, who's still running for office? All of this, of course, is just a feather on the wind compared to Muse editor J.C. Hogan's desperate attempts to find a cure for his marital woes. Will it be high-def TV or pork chop marinade? In fiction, as in real life, there are no guarantees. 20 minutes from Mitford at Meadowgate Farm, newlyweds Julie and Lance Kavanaugh face a crisis that devastates their bank account and impacts their family vet practice. But there is still a lot to celebrate as their adopted son Jack looks forward to the most important day of his life. With great cooking, country music, lots of people love him. Happily, it will also be the day when a terrible rift between Julie's biological family begins to heal. I like the inside art. Just reach over here. We gotta get to I gotta start doing this series. Anne Perry, An Echo of Murder. In this course of his tenure with the Thames River Police, Commander Monk has yet to see a gruesome crime scene. A Hungarian warehouse owner lies in the middle of his blood-sodden office, pierced through the chest with a bayonet and eerily surrounded by 17 candles. Suspecting the murder may be rooted in ethnic prejudice, Monk turns to London's Hungarian community in search for clues, but finds his inquiry stymied by its very citizens and a language he doesn't speak. Only with the help of a local pharmacist acting as a translator can Monk hope to penetrate this tightly knit enclave, even as more of its members fall to identical brutal murders. But whoever the killer or killers may be, a secret society practicing ritual sacrifice, a madman on a spree, a British narrative targeting foreigners, they are well hidden among the city's ever-growing populace. I, Eliza Hamilton. This book has come through in unboxings. I did not keep it. I thought about it, and it went in the donation box. As the daughter of a respected general, Elizabeth Schuyler is accustomed to socializing with dignitaries and soldiers, but no visitor to her parents' home has affected her so strongly as Alexander Hamilton, a charismatic, ambitious aide to George Washington. They marry quickly, and despite the tumult of the American Revolution, Eliza is confident in her brilliant husband and in her role as his helpmate. But it is the aftermath of war, as Hamilton becomes one of the country's most important figures, that she truly comes into her own. If you haven't seen the Broadway show, you should go see it. Of course, I just watched it on YouTube. uh, Catherine Bybee, Fool Me Once. Cynical divorce attorney Laurie Cumberman lives by one motto: love is grand, but divorce is 100 grand. With one failed marriage under her own personal belt, Laurie has fallen hard and early, and isn't something she plans on repeating. She's content focusing on contemporary marriages of her rich and famous clients. When she joins one of the recent divorcees on a celebratory cruise, her only vow was fun, sun, and new friends. But Laurie finds herself tempted by a jury of one. Anne H. Gebhardt. We've had these in Flashback Mondays, Romantic Time book reviews. Frances Howard has her life all mapped up until the man she loves announces his plans to bring home an English bride from war-torn Europe in 1945. Devastated, Francine seeks a fresh stop in the Appalachian Mountains, training to be a nurse midwife for the Frontier Nursing Service. Deeply affected by the horrors he witnessed at war, Ben Locke has never thought further ahead than making it home to Kentucky. His future is shrouded as much as mist as his beloved mountains. He's at a loss when it comes to envisioning what's next for his life, and then he meets Frances. And I'm sure it's a very slow process. Karen McEney, Deadly Brew. It's Halloween in Buttercup, Texas, and reporter turned former Lucy Resnick is up to her ears in more goats and wayward cows. Not only has her well dried up, but it turns out the old house Lucy recently moved to form has a reputation for spooks, and they are disturbingly active. Then a tarot card reading at a local mead winery foretells death, only to have exotic game ranch owner Bug Wharton turn up dead. Cause of death: murder by a fatal dose of bee venom. When the dim-witted sheriff fingers local witch and mead winery owner Stephen Alexander, Lucy gets involved and soon discovers that all kinds of things are brewing in Buttercup. Have you seen that new TV show Ghost? I don't like the British one. I do like the Australian one, but I have yet to be able to find it. To watch a whole piece instead of just little snippies. But the American one, I love the fact that there were 22 episodes in a season. I binged it, and unfortunately, I binged it really quickly because a half-hour show comes down to about 15-20 minutes. So you can watch 2 or 3 episodes in an hour. And it just went so quickly. I love that guy's sister so much. I want her, and the no pants guy to hook up in a dream, because she hooked up with Sass. We wanted to hook up with Trevor. And my gal pal is over here. She's still taking a bath. Get this out of here. She's still taking a bath. Alright. We've done some of these on my channel. A Body on Baker Street. Gemma Doyle and Jane Wilson are busy managing the Sherlock Holmes bookshop and emporium on Baker Street and adjoining Mrs. Hudson's tea room in anticipation of the store's upcoming book signing with the illustrious Renault van Markov, author of the controversial Hudson and Holmes mystery series. But during the author Q&A session, dedicated Sherlockonian Donald Morris verbally attacks Renault and her series for disgracing Sherlock's legacy, only to be publicly humiliated when the author triumphantly lashes back and gains the upper hand. That until she ends up dead. Oops. Dog Days of Summer. Wagging through the snow. With a demanding teaching job at Connecticut's elite Howard Academy and 5 poodles scampering around the house, Melanie barely has energy for upcoming Christmas rush, but she unwraps unexpected challenges when her brother and ex-husband, elated by the recent success of their country cafe, make a spontaneous bid on a dilapidated pine tree farm. Though the 10-acre lot has been a popular seasonal destination, while the original owner was still alive, it'll take some sprucing up and a miracle or two before the neglected place is in shape for December. Hello. Wait a second. She's still taking a bath. Unfortunately, the impromptu business venture goes cold when the group discovers a purebred Maltese whimpering in the snow-covered grove right beside a dead body. Pete, a squatter who camped out on the land, apparently met his end after a fallen tree branch knocked him on the head. Did it accidentally knock him on the head? Or was it murder? We will have to investigate. Dorothy St. James, asking for truffle. When Charity Penn receives a letter saying she won a trip to South Carolina for free confectionery lessons at a seaside chocolate shop, the chocolate box, she's skeptical. She knows that she never entered the contest. An old prep school friend offers to look into the phony prize and ends up drowned in a vat of chocolate. A guilt-stricken Penn heads to the sunny South Beach town to investigate. Though she's weary of the locals, her eccentric vibe makes her dents melt away. But learning the art of crafting delicious chocolate turns bittersweet when she unwraps a dark and deadly plot to destroy this charming town. Oops. Now, being a fan, I'm embarrassed to say I did not know this one existed. I'm Sookie Stackhouse all the way. I don't like that, the one she's doing now, the cowboyish girl with the powers that's like Sookie but not Sookie. And I've talked to Charlene Harris, and she has specifically said Sookie's no more. She will not write Sookie, not in any time future. So we're all without Sookie. Sleep Like a Baby. Aura's Tea Garden series, Robin and Aura have finally begun their adventure in parenting, with a newborn Sophie proving to be quite a handful. Rose's mother pays for a partially trained nurse, Virginia Mitchell, to come by to help the parents for a few weeks. Virginia proves to be especially helpful when Robin has to leave town for work, and Rose is struck with a bad case of the flu. During one particularly stormy night, Rose wakes to hear her daughter crying, and Virginia nowhere to be found. Rose's brother Philip helps her search the house, and they happen upon a body outside. But it isn't Virginia's. Now, not only does she have a newborn to care about and a venerable new marriage to nurture, but Ro also has to contend with a new puzzle. Who is the mystery woman dead in their backyard, and where is Virginia? Beverly Lewis. The Proving. I need time to think, just for a while. I told myself truth to be told, I was furious with my twin sister and heartbroken. It was impossible not to keep replaying the horrid last moments between us. I knew for sure Dad would be sick of it, if he was still alive. Sitting in the small, nearby empty bedroom, I recalled my father's fondness for Ari and me, and felt terribly alone. From the start, Ari and I were more than sisters, we were best friends, till now. I got up and paced the floor, staring at the moon through the window. How had it come to this? So what happened? Gotta read the book. What? As my girl. Hey, Alice McDermott, The Ninth Hour. One dim winter summer, a young Irish immigrant opens the gas tap in his Brooklyn tenement. He's determined to prove to the subway bosses who have recently fired him, to his badgering pregnant wife, that hours of his life belong to himself alone. In the aftermath of the fire that follows, Sister St. Trevor, an aging nun, a little nursing sister, sick poor, appears unbidden to direct the way forward for his widow and his unborn children. Ah, just a little Christmas. Alicia Ellie Morrison couldn't wait to shake the dust of branding iron Texas off her heels and chase after bright lights, big city, and wealthy husband. Now she's come home divorced, a little disillusioned, and a lot pregnant. Leave it to her one-time high school sweetheart, cattle rancher Juba McFarland, to point out that certified Ellie is out of place in small-town Texas as a teacup poodle. So why is there something about being back and being with Judel that is surprisingly right? The Christmas Room. Catherine Anderson, who has spent many a times in Romantic Times Book Review, Flashback Mondays. Summer gives way to fall in Russell's Gulch. Widow Mattie McLean begins to have second thoughts about uprooting her life to move there with her son and grandson. Contractors have yet to break ground on their new house, leaving them along with 4 horses, 3 dogs, and 6 cats, to live in a makeshift camp of trailers, tents, and sheds while a brutal Montana winter looms on horizon. Millionaire rancher Sam Kocher doesn't take kindly to his foolish new neighbors, but then he hasn't taken kindly to anyone since his wife died 6 years ago. Christmas. We've done this one a few times. This one's come up a few times. A Secret History of Witches. We did this recently. It's got the good paper, too. Brittany, 1821. When Grandmere Ursula gives her life to save her family, the magic seems to die with her. Even so, the Orchids fight to keep the old ways alive, practicing half-remembered spells and arcane rites in hopes of revival. And when their youngest daughter comes of age, magic flows anew. See what happens. A Hive of Homicides, Mira Lester. When Abigail Mackenzie left the police force to become a farmer and a beekeeper in a beautiful Las Flores, California, she thought her days of criminal investigation were behind her. Her present life is mostly filled with hard work and happy occasions, including the upcoming event with her friend Paolo, a truffle maker who's renewing her vows with her husband Jack, owner of the Country Schoolhouse Winery. Abby is delighted to provide her trademark lavender honey for the occasion. But after the ceremony, the guests of honor are nowhere to be found. When Abby goes looking for them, she hears a gunshot and discovers Jake dead in his car and Paolo injured beside him. Why did somebody want these people dead? Charles Tard, a casualty of war. Though the Great War is nearing its end, Armington is back in Allied hands. Canberra has fallen to the Canadians, Turkey is collapsing, and the Germans are on retreat. The fighting rages on. Like the battered and weary soldier she tends, Bess Crawford yearns for an end to the bloodshed, taking a devastating toll on everyone, including her fellow doctors and nurses. While waiting for transport, Bess meets Captain Alan Travis, an Englishman whose branch of the family made its fortune on the Caribbean island of Barbados. Their brief, pleasant conversation is a respite from the carnage ahead as they return to duty. Karen Hawkins caught by the Scots. Naked guy on the cover, Selena. If you haven't seen my February If Then, please go watch it. Naked guys on the cover. Dashing Scottish privateer Connor Douglas must marry a respectable, well-born woman, and soon, if he wants to secure his rightful inheritance. That's going to be I was in the middle of doing this, and I got sidetracked and I never got back to it. But it's going to be one of those marriage if convenience if thens. They have to marries. There's a lot of these out there in Regency land. A lot. She's taking a bath again. Yes, ma'am. There she is. Miss Smokey. So he has to marry. Determined to still explore the high seas as well as his mistress Bez, he aims to find a pliable wife who'll turn a blind eye to his antics. And he knows just the woman, a childhood friend and mousy spinster Theodore Cumberbatch Snow. Unbeknownst to Connor, meek and plain Theodore has been hopelessly in love with him for years. But unwilling to wait forever for what will happen, Theo plans to wed a kind of unexciting local landowner, leaving behind the wild Highlander of her dreams. Well, Connor better hurry up. Julianne Long, Dirty Dancing at Devil's Leap. Make a guy on the cover, Selena! As Avalon Harwood fortune soared, Maximilian Coltrane's plummeted, and he had to fight his way back to where they both began. Hellcat Canyon, now and Avalon. Yes, ma'am. What? What? Alright. Um, Mac Coltrane plummeted and he had to fight his way back to where they both began, Hellcat Canyon. Now Mac and Avalon will play dirty in more ways than one to get what they want, the glorious old abandoned Coltrane mansion. When Avalon snaps the house up at auction, she discovers something awfully familiar about the extremely hot caretaker. Uh-huh. Denise Swanson, dead in the water. For school psychologist Guy Dennison Boyd, there's certainly no place like home. When a violent tornado devastates her small hometown of Scrumble River, she can't see how the community will ever recover, especially since the town localman Zyke Lemon appears to have perished in the twister. But things get even worse for Sky when her police chief husband Wally disappears in the midst of investigating Zeke's death. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There she is. Alright. But things get worse for Sky when her police chief husband Wally disappears in the midst of investigating Zeke's death and evidence arises pointing to Fablé. So what happened? Okay. Now, I predict that September 17th, September 2017 was an expensive month for moi. First we got this one. And mortally yours. 125 years is a long time to nurse a crush. That's how long it's been since Beth Argentee's first Cullen Scotty McDonald, and he instantly became the star for most X-rated dreams. But now he was rescuing her from a rogue immortal. Now Beth's a rogue hunter and a damn good one. She doesn't need saving anymore, despite what Scotty thinks. Yeah, we're gonna get a little romantic, right? We're gonna get a little romantic, right? If you have not watched, oh, I should make a list for this. I have to make a list. Remind me to make a list. If you have not watched all my FBI series, please watch my FBI series. We did them all in order, and we did the Brits too. Sherlock and Savick, husband and wife, solving mystery murder crimes. Mjima. Agent Savick stops a crazy man from harming a pregnant woman. The man unexpectedly falls into a coma. Doctors discover a drug in his blood that can't classify. His only identification is a yellow wristband marked E2. Did this John Doe escape from a mental hospital? And why was he at a pregnant woman's house? When her newborn baby is kidnapped from the hospital, Savick realizes the connection between the kidnapping and the unconscious John Doe. DNA tests uncover a startling fact. His cells are unlike any other. He's an Mjima. Savick and Sherlock and an FBI team of experts must find the kidnapped baby, discover the link, and determine the spy drug that was used on John Doe, and most importantly, why. Meanwhile, Liam Hensley, aka Manta Ray, convicted bank robber, escapes from the federal marshals during his transport to federal prison. And he's got to go find him. And you know, my Eve Dallas, who's a lieutenant in the New York City Police and Security Department. My where is it? What did I do with it? I don't even know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. That I love so much that we're reading every single Saturday. Well, apparently, September is our release date. Secret in Death. I think this is one of the last physical audiobooks. I think I go to Audible after this. But here we are, Secrets in Death. The chic Manhattan night spot called Du Vin has a French theme, though it's actually owned by an Irishman who just happens to be married to NYPSD's Lieutenant Eve Dallas. Du Vin is not the kind of place Dallas would usually patronize, and it's definitely not the kind of bar where a lot of blood gets spilled. But that's exactly what happens one cold February evening. The mortally wounded woman who stumbled out of the ladies' room is Lorinda Mars, a self-described social misinformation reporter, or as most people would call it, a professional gossip. As it turned out, she wasn't publicly sharing all the dirt she dug up. She kept the best, most shocking stories quiet for profit use in her side business as a blackmailer. Setting her sights on rich, prominent marks, she'd find out why they most wanted to keep hidden and then bleed them dry. Now she's done the same to her, literally, with a knife to her bronchial artery. So Eve's got to find out who done it. And speaking of a woman that comes out, I'm gonna do a thing later. But anyways, this is where we end, and it's got the fancy cover. I think, yeah, she starts doing the fancy covers about this time. Crossword puzzle. So that was September 2017. Don't you wish we could go back? My life was better in 2017. Oh! I bought this at Barnes & Noble. I paid $21.36. Have a good one. Oh, don't forget to check out Unboxing on Sundays, my Gal Pal on Saturday, and my daily book reviews, If Then Fridays, Star Trek Next Generation recaps, watch Star Trek Next Generation recaps with all the garbled audio problems, and of course Flashback Monday with Romantic Times Book Review Magazine on Mondays. And this was Flashback Monday, September 2017. We're on to October now. Have a good one.